Hi, good morning everybody. Welcome to Bunker Sound. I'm working with a band from Asheville called Dr. Bacon, and we recorded all the tracks last week, and today we're going to start mixing the album. So I thought I'd give you a quick overview of the settings I've used so far to create a first mixing template for one of the songs of the album. It's called Red Letter. I'll just quickly play it. So you get a little bit the feeling of the song. So I'm quickly gonna show you what we've done. We have about 68 tracks in total in the session, and because we have quite a few of horn sections, banjos, guitars, backing vocals, regular vocals, bass, percussion, and drums. So there's quite a lot going on, but what I did is I grouped as much as I could in the box, and then I just put it on the board. Right here on my left hand side I have most of the rhythmic stuff. These are all my drums and percussion. Then I have my bass, the DI and the amp, EG1, EG2, which are your guitars, rhythm, and then we have a harp, a mouth harmonica, which is a stereo track. These are all my parallel compression tracks. I will explain that in a second. And on the right hand side I have banjo, horn section, backing vocals and vocals. Up here are all the returns of the parallel compressions, as well as some of my buses that I'm using. I make them return here because then I can write automation on them. The setup is that on the first bus I have a Korg delay, like a really old school, the one that the Edge of U2 uses. It's called a Korg, what's the model number? It's the SDD 3000 rack module. Then I have an H3000 set on pitch slab. I'm using a Lexicon PCM 70 on a small room for drums. Then I have a DBX 120 for the sub frequencies. I'm using the Bricasti for the plate reverb, and I have a Roland Dimension D on the other stereo bus for flanging and chorusing. So I haven't really, a lot of my sounds just come from parallel compression, recording it with the right microphones, and then just applying a little bit of compression and EQ. So if we look at the kick drum, for instance, on track 1, you can see that, I don't know if you can see the screen, let me have a look. No, you can't, so let me go up there. You see the Neve console has a digitally controlled EQ, but it is actually an analog EQ. So up there you can set your frequencies and stuff. So on the kick itself, I'm just taking out a little bit of the mud around 500, adding a little bit of 50, and boosting around 3K, 4K range. That's all I'm doing. The snare drums, I've added a sample of the snare we recorded, which was a 1980s scratch. I left some bleed in there because this song kind of requires the bleed. I didn't clean it up completely. If I need to do it, I will do it later. Then I have the toms. The toms I actually, in the box, I got rid of everything that is not a tom hit. Just to make it a little bit more cleaner. And then we have the overheads where I cut out nearly all the low end frequencies and just boosted it a little bit on the high end. My ride and hi-hat are also returning on the overheads. And then I have a room microphone that I'm crushing, as you can hear. There are two room microphones, the U47 and a U47 tube and a Coles 4038, and both of them are crushed. And I'll use that in choruses or something to create some dynamics. Then we have percussion. He's playing the tambourine here, but we also have congas and cowbells. Again, no EQ, nothing. This is just a recording. On the bass, this is the I. I'm adding a little bit of the dimension D to it, just to create some more space. And this is the amp. The amp is an SVT, Ampeg SVT, with a 115 and a 4x10 cap that I've blended together. And then I'm sending it through the boiler, this thing called the boiler here. Don't know if you can see it. It's this one here. One side is for the bass, and one side is for the kick drum. These things are really aggressive, so I try to be careful with it. But it gives a pretty good sound. And that's when you combine them. And then electric guitar. There's just nothing on it, that's just how we recorded it. It's a blend of an SM57 and a Shure 313 on a Marshall clean cabinet. It's one of those little combos, the GCM 2000. This is the wah channel. Again, pretty clean, same setup, same amp, just a wah pedal. This is the harp. Michael's trying to create like some type of organ sound. He's sending it through a Leslie pedal. It's a blend of a clean recording with an Bayer M160 recording, and then we're sending it through two amps, a Fender Deluxe Reverb and a old 1951 ST, which creates a little bit the grid, the tweet, tube distortion, and then we have also the clean reverb from the Deluxe Reverb. So there's about 6 channels that we blended together and put on the board to get that sound. Alright, then on this side we have the banjo. Let me just start the song again quickly. The banjo is a blend of a microphone. I think we also used a ribbon for that one. It's also an M160 plus plus a Fender Deluxe as well, mic'd with two different microphones, one dynamic and one ribbon. These are the horns. And on the banjo there's no EQ, nothing. We just used it as we recorded it. Let me see if I can find some horn sections somewhere. So on the horns we have a trombone, a baritone, and a saxophone, tenor saxophone. I recorded it with I recorded them as an ensemble with a stereo AEAR88 microphone, and then I also individually put a microphone on each instrument, and they were all ribbon microphones. Coles 4038 and 2 Royer 121s. Then I blended them together with a little bit of EQ to just boost a bit of the high end, and that's how they sound. So we keep a pretty natural sound, but it's bright enough to pierce through the whole song. And then on the vocals, we have backing vocals. So
I'm fooling around with the red-headed girl, don't care if she's bound for the next guy that she's found. Hey, hey, hey.
So the vocal, we have a little bit of Q, boost around 220. And then Jesse's vocals is very bright and mid-rangey, so I put a dynamic EQ on there from Isotope just to control those mid-range frequencies, especially when he sings loud. And then I'm using the Bricasti, I'm using the pitch slap for a widening effect from Eventide H3000, and I'm also using a little bit of delay in the choruses. So that's that. Then we have the backing vocals, which are here. Yeah, that's just being recorded.
Red-headed girl.
Separate microphones in one room.
Turn the bottle up and I'm down for a round with a red-headed girl. Don't care if she's bound for the next guy that she's found.
So again, very little EQ, almost no board EQ. I think in the books I might have cut some frequencies and I might have added some high-end air. But then what is really actually making the sound in the second to get my separation of the instruments and stuff, it's this section here on the board that I'm using. What I'm doing is I'm splitting the drums and the bass from all of the rest of the instruments, and I basically create two stereo buses. One is called drums, and that one gets parallel compressed with my Orban. It's an old stereo compressor that was used for broadcast in the old days, but I can get a really nice controlled compressed sound. So let me show you. So this is the drums that I'm blending in with the original ones, and it creates so much more punch. And then this is all the rest of the instruments. And these two buses are just being they come from the board past fader, and then they go to a compressor post fader again, so which means that if I push this up, I'm compressing more. And then the output of this goes to the stereo bus. So these are just the two buses here together. And then here I have a bus which is called EG Crush. So all the electric guitars go through that bus and get crushed with an 1176. Same on the snare. That one I'm using, yeah, actually for all of these, the bus 3, 4, 5, and 6, what I'm doing is I'm using the, let me show you. I am using the this box called UAD 4710, because what I can do with that is I can just put the line level in, then crank up the drive so I can get some grit and distortion. Plus it has a 1176 type of compressor built-in, which I'm using as well, and I can put them either on fast or on slow. There's not a lot of you see these little knobs here allow you to set the compressor, and so for instance for the snare drum I'm using this one on fast, and the drive completely up, so it's kind of distorting almost. And I'm doing a little bit less of that for the guitars, on slow, less drive. And these are the parallel instrument tracks. And that works pretty well. It allows me to control the tone, but at the same time also have some compression. And since I don't have enough money yet to buy 1176s, and I even don't have enough space to put them, this box comes in really handy for me. Alright, then we go to kick and bass. There is parallel compressed track that just receives the kick and the bass, which I'm sending through the DBX compressor and really knock the hell out of it. So it's like super compressed, and it returns on here on the board. So at mixdown I can put more or less in there, and I can even automate all those faders. And then I do the same for the vocal crush, which is going to the Purple 1176 on completely maxed out, like all buttons in. A very fast release and a slow attack. Yeah, and then here I have some more effects coming back. So there you go. That is what I got so far. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, on the mix bus I'm using an API 2500 compressor and a manually passive. I'm compressing very lightly, but I am cranking up a lot of high end on the mix itself, so that I don't have to worry about that anymore whenever I'm EQing my instruments. The only thing I need to really think about is the mid-range, which I'm not touching on the master EQ. I'm literally just boosting a bit of low end and putting a high shelf in there, compressing the overall mix by about 1 dB or something. I barely hit it, and no gain makeup, so that I know, or just it's auto gain makeup, so whatever I'm compressing I'm getting back, so I don't add any more gain, so that I can compare everything properly. Alright, so that's it, and this is what I got so far. Let me play some from the verse 2. Here we go.
Well, mama, all the fellas wanna give it to a good, but I know they never gonna. But give her money, but you can't deserve a song. I got them that goes red medicine. Well, didn't know it better. Next got the man, only got a wetter. She teased me, where's the letter? Goddamn, that goes a red letter again. Red letter again. Some solitaries for others on the secret set. I don't bother when things ain't make me crazy. Goddamn,
So,
red letters in red.
you kind of get the gist of what we're doing here. I hope it gives you a little bit of an overview about, you know, the stuff that we try to do and how we get our sounds. It's took me a day to get to this yesterday, so hopefully now it will go faster and I can apply some of the sounds to the other 11 songs that we still need to do. And then once I've cycled through all the individual songs, I will put them back on here and then start adding automation. And then hopefully we should have our final mixes and the album should be ready by next week. It's great to see you guys. I hope this is useful somehow, and take care. Bunker out.